Welcome back, everybody, to the First Team NFL Draft and College Football Podcast, bringing you all some exclusive insights to the 2024 NFL Draft prospects that you will be rooting for very shortly on Sundays. We have a young man that has had a great process so far. I know we just are coming off of Senior Bowl performances over the last couple weeks. We have Mr. Tyrice Knight, out of UTEP, who is getting ready for a huge combine performance coming up in just a little under 2 weeks now in Indianapolis, Indiana. Uh, Tyrese, before we start, man, just really appreciate you for hopping in. I know you're down in Miami doing the training, super hectic times, my friend, but thank you so much for joining the show today. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
No doubt, man. No doubt. So I think, Tyrese, I really wanted to start you off, and because I had been looking at just kind of your background, a little bit of the statistics over the last few years, and for people that haven't watched UTEP and haven't watched the Niners and aren't familiar with your game, you were a really good player before this year. I mean, you had back to back leading the team in tackles, 100 plus tackles 2 years prior, but this year you ascended, in my opinion, from a really good player into one of the college football elite. 140 tackles this past year, 15 and a half tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, many pass breakups as well. Just take me through a little bit of the ascension in your game this past year, man, and what you felt like maybe was the reason or the biggest improvements in your game that led to such a dynamic final year for UTEP.
Well, for sure, the last 3 years, the game was slowing down for me a lot. So, really, this whole year, it took a big step for me just like growing up in the summer. I had my best summer year overall. I pretty much crushed all my mats. I broke the school power clean record for linebackers. I had my personal squad, I had my personal bench. So, really, the whole offseason, I just took a big step and just grinding hard and just, let everything come to me. And then for the season wise, the game pretty much slowed down. It slowed down for me last year. I kind of seen how that was evolving, but this year for sure, every game felt like it was a
Hmm.
practice to me. So all that just really took effect from having a good off season, a good season overall, and it just started playing out for me for game one.
So Tyrese, you were a Independence Community College guy, and for anyone who watched Last Chance U knows is familiar with that program. I think a lot of people, college football fans, NFL draft fans, maybe aren't super familiar with just the path of coming from a junior college. I played in college with a lot of guys that came from a lot of different junior colleges. I had one first question here, is a two-parter. One, did you play under Coach Jason Brown, the coach who was there on Last Chance U, or was that right before you got there?
Nah, when I got there, that was his second year. So I redshirted my first year, so I ain't really play for him, but I experienced him for sure.
What was your experience like playing for him? Because there was one guy that I played with that swears by him and loves him. What did you think of him as a head coach and how he might have helped you as a player?
He wasn't acting for no show. That's how he really was. So he was really
Right.
he wasn't capping for the show, but for sure he was a good coach to me. I always had hard nosed coaches, so him acting or talking a certain way that didn't really affect me. But he taught me one thing in life. 'Cause I had missed workouts one day. He had called me and what happened, why you missed workouts. I was like, I had that's on me. I had missed my alarm clock, and he was like, one thing in life, don't be the alarm clock, be the main reason you wake up in the morning. So when he told me that, that's something I'm always gonna remember. So he was a good dude to me overall.
The other part about this I want to ask is that journey playing junior college football. It's shaped a lot of really great players in the NFL. One, what led to you playing junior college football, and how has that helped you on this path to getting to the NFL?
Oh well, I was a qualifier coming out of high school. I had a 3.8. I passed on my ACT and SATs, so I had four offers. I was planning on going to USF out of high school. I had waited to commit, and they ran out of roster spots. So I ended up going JUCO because one of my coaches knew a buddy down there in Independence. He had sent him my film, and that's how I got there. But JUCO just teach you. It just teaches hard nose and the struggle from the bottom. So a lot of people really go appreciate JUCO because it get you ready for the colleges. So once I got to UTEP, a lot of things I was experiencing, I'd already experienced at that independent JUCO. So really, I was just ready for everything. And JUCO not really a bad thing. I had a good experience there. There was a lot of Florida people there my 2 years there. So JUCO was fun. I really miss it, honestly.
BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL, are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Well, Tyrese, can I ask, because I know you were a Florida guy originally, now you're back down in Florida, doing the training and getting ready for the combine and everything. But so you spent some time in Kansas, you spent some time at El Paso, Texas. What's it been like just being around the map a little bit, man? Some very different places that you have been, to say the least.
I just can say I done experienced every climate from rain and snow to hot and sunny. So like, I feel like Kansas and Texas just got me ready for like any type of football weather that I'm out to play in later in my life. So I done seen everything. I really appreciate that journey from top to bottom.
Well, in another part
So
of
I
the
love
journey,
I love asking.
obviously.
Oh,
Sorry.
mhm.
I was just gonna ask
No, go ahead,
Tyrese,
Ryan.
the next part of the journey that I wanted to hit on was, of course, Mobile, Alabama, going down there and competing against the best of the best. And I thought you had a great week. I really did. I thought that you showed yourself, because a lot of people are going to look at, UTEP. They're going to have those assumptions, obviously, coming from a G5, and what's he going to look like playing against the best schools in the country. And I thought you obviously showcased yourself really well. What was just that overall experience like down in Mobile, and how do you feel like you just kind of, I guess, really showed that you belong and that you are one of the top linebackers in the 2024 NFL draft?
Well, even though I was at UTEP, like throughout my career, we done played against a lot of, schools out of our conference. Like this year for sure, I think most of my best games was like people that not in our conference, like Northwestern, UNLV, and a lot of those schools. So like I wasn't really worrying about this type of guys I have to face at the Senior Bowl, but I had a slow week to me coming up at Mobile. But once I like got the playbook right and started feeling like how I was feeling, I had my best practice, which was that Thursday right before the game. So I felt like everything started tying in for me overall. But I had a good week, like from the like 1v1s with the pass rush and like sticking the running back. So like that was my game. But I just had to figure out, start moving fast. I was moving for like the team run and stuff. But I feel like everything tied in for me that Thursday, and I had my best day.
When did you find out that you were going to be playing in the Senior Bowl, and did you have a feeling and an expectation that that was going to be coming, or were you kind of just waiting to see? Maybe you had a feeling that there were going to be some of these All-Star games. Like when and how did this all come together that you ended up playing in the game?
Well, when they dropped the mid-season watch list for the Senior Bowl in like October, I was the first linebacker on that list. So like during the season, I was expecting me to go to the Senior Bowl, but they didn't. I think they were trying to wait to see what type of juniors going to like declare, so they was gonna get in the spots. So I already set my East West trying to invite them. I want to say yeah, it was the night of the championship or the when Bama played Michigan.
Mhm.
Jim Nagy called me like 20 minutes before the game and just told me that I know it's been a long process, but we're gonna give you the invite to the Senior Bowl. So that's how all that played out. But I was just pretty much I was just heading on like playing for the East West, but the Senior Bowl, that was a blessing and I took the opportunity.
Well, now, I know we talked about this a little bit before we started, Tyrese, but now you're training down in Bomarito, which is one of the top training facilities in the entire country down there in Miami, Florida. What has that process been like? Just being able to train with some of the great other prospects in the 2024 class, and how have you kind of just seen your gains so far in that process?
From day one, 'cause I had came out here early, so I already been training down here since like December 12th. So I came out here like 2 weeks before everybody really got here. But since day one, I figured I pick the best spot to train that, Pete know what he be talking about. Honestly, I feel like my game took a better step. I know I done got way more faster, more explosive. Really everything we've been working on, I've been seeing improvement every week. So I'm really just happy I picked this spot. But trying to get here with other guys, it's good to see other guys around you trying to work for the same goal and everybody getting better every day, just pushing everybody. So it really been a good environment and good vibes for me since I've been out here.
So I always love asking guys this. We asked Dylan Laube, the UNH running back, last week, what drill at the combine he thinks he's going to have his best testing number in. And I don't want you to, if you don't want to, give us any spoilers here, but if you had to call your shot right now during the combine, what number do you think you're going to put up that's going to be the best of the weekend?
Uh, I know my three cone and short shuttle gonna be up there for sure. Like we had a mock combine last Wednesday, and I pretty much had good numbers across the board. But I honestly see like scouts thinking I'm around like a 4.8 or something. So I really think my 40 gonna surprise everybody.
What do you
Um,
think you're going to end up running it? 4.8 seems slow. That's crazy.
Yeah,
They
like
think that.
I don't got no. I haven't ran a 40 since high school, so I really don't know where they got that number from. I know
Right.
my film not showing me that I'm slow, so I'm just they took a bad
Four
guess
eight
or
slow as
whatever.
shit. Like I'm just gonna say it. That's slow as shit.
Yeah.
That's a little disrespectful. They're saying that about you.
Yeah, I mean that's good though, cause once I run my real 40, they'll be like, oh, and start running down good stuff. So like I ain't tripping about that. But between my 40, I'm gonna be like a 4.49 and a 4.56. So
Wow, that'd be great.
Well, Tyrese,
yeah.
that's great to hear, man, because it's funny enough is I was actually looking at a scouting report on a particular draft, so I'm not gonna I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody on here, but they literally had the estimated 4.8 time, and I'm like, I watched this guy on film. He didn't look
No.
like a 4.8 guy to me. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't seem
Yeah,
right to me.
I don't got no 40 documented. 'Cause I haven't ran no 40 since high school. That wasn't even like no documented. I just got a team wanted to know what my 40 was, so my coach had put me out of class to run one on the track. So that's why I remember that time from. But I haven't ran no 40. And I don't know where they got it documented from, but I'll take it though, honestly.
Hilarious. Well, I wanted to ask
That's
you
hilarious.
because I was actually texting Joe about this after I watched your film, and I think I may have put it in the Twitter thread, but I definitely put it in the scouting report if I did not. But there was a player that you kept that kept I kept writing down on my notepad that I felt like you reminded me of so much, and it's from a body type perspective and a little bit of a play style perspective. And you just reminded me so much of Dre Greenlaw, who for people that don't watch NFL football, like he is one of the best linebackers in the NFL, and he gets overshadowed a little bit because he plays with Fred Warner, who is
Yeah.
maybe the best linebacker in the NFL, right? But Dre is an absolute dog. I'm curious about when you watch film, particularly on maybe some NFL players or in the past, like that type of thing. Are there players that you have gravitated towards that maybe you have tried to take stuff from their games to help your own, if that makes sense?
Well, for sure, I watched the two guys, Fred Warner and Roquan Smith, but they both of them got two different play styles for sure. I feel like Roquan pretty much, zone guy, but good in the run game for sure. But I feel like Fred Warner good from top to bottom. So really, I be watching Fred Warner a lot. I just try to mimic my game after him, honestly.
Tyrese, we're pretty deep into this process here, and at the beginning of it, and you probably had some opportunities to talk to some NFL teams when you're at the Senior Bowl. Are there any teams that one you'd love to play for in the NFL, and then two that you've maybe spoken to already that you think have shown that they really like you and want you to play for them?
I'll be blessed to play for any team just to show what I can do from day one. So it really wouldn't matter what team draft me for sure. But at the Senior Bowl, the team that really stood out the most to me was the Giants for sure. We had the interviews like every other day or every day with them.
Hmm.
With them, both my interviews, I had to explain some players from the last year. Then also they had like a big camera recording me and like 8 Giants people around the table. I had to drop some of our coverages from last year. So I had did that with them actually 2 times throughout the week. So I really feel like they really like me a lot. And also during our 1v1 stuff, it was just Giants I guess Scott whatever beside me. He talking about every player every time I made a good play. He was like, good, you making you some money and stuff. So I really feel like the Giants really stand out the most to me.
That's ringing true to Joe's ears. You don't know this obviously, but Joe is a New York Giants fan, and that's pretty hilarious. That's
We need linebackers.
Yeah, they honestly they've been 'cause one of my coaches at my school went to the he played for the Giants when he came out of college. So the Giants really been like keeping in contact with me since like 2021.
It's awesome.
So they really just been really talking to me for the last 3 years.
Wow.
Tyrese, I'm curious because I know, like Joe said, we're kind of still new to the process a little bit because I mean you have the combine coming up, you're gonna have the top 30 visits set up and doing all that type of stuff kind of down the stretch here. But I'm curious, man, because you were a 6 year player. Again, we went through a little bit of the background of places you've been. You've been to play football in Kansas. You played down in El Paso, Texas. You're a Florida guy originally. You talked about, you being a qualifier out of high school, but you ended up not getting an opportunity to play for USF right out of it. It's been a long journey, is kind of what I'm trying to say here, right? And just kind of taking a step back for a second, how appreciative are you of the journey you have been on? Because I have to think, and this is just my assumption, please correct me if I'm wrong, but you getting so close to a goal here how just great does it feel to know that you've been through so many trials, tribulations, long seasons, and shortly you're going to be able to achieve what I'm sure has been a lifelong dream of yours?
But everybody on their own. In my eyes, everybody on their own clock. Everybody got their own time. God already set everybody, story for them. So I felt like there was a story I needed to take overall. So I really appreciate the journey. I probably went JUCO in my eyes because I probably think I wasn't ready for the D1 level coming out of high school. I came out like I always had this frame, but I wasn't as big. So I was like probably like 210 coming out of high school. So I ain't really too much thinking about it. I just feel like, God knew what he was doing. And really, JUCO, UTEP, they probably put me in the best position where I'm in now to reach my goals. I just appreciate all that.
All right. Well, again, we were joined here by Tyrice Knight, one of the star linebackers in the 2024 NFL draft class out of UTEP. If you guys haven't watched him yet, make sure to go some film. Number 10, he's going to be making plays all over the field when you're watching the Niners from this past year. Tyrice, I really appreciate it again, man. Appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule. We know it's super hectic for you, especially on a Sunday night recording with us now, man. Good luck in the rest of the process. And thank you again so much for joining the show today.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you guys for having me.